And we are live with Taking Over episode 7, and I am not muted. And thank you for that reminder. Yes, I am joined here with the natural Astrid Pizarro, again getting the finger pointed right because I know how to do it.
Progress.
I am so proud of myself. And I just want to also say the very first episode of Taking Over that is now live on our local establishment, twitch.tv/our local establishment. So happy, so proud to have this as part of the new channel. So thank you everyone for joining in. Please share the word and come say hi. Get involved in the chat. Astrid, how are you? How did you enjoy NXT?
I'm doing all right. I think it's better than I thought it was going to be for a post show after Halloween Havoc. But yeah, it was all right for me so far.
Well, I know it's a little bit customary that we always do one of these together. But Astrid, I have to challenge you on something.
Oh no, here we go.
Oh yeah. You are getting challenged to the Olay Pod Challenge, which means you have to go very closely to your microphone and in your loudest voice yell Olay.
I'm going to say I feel bad for anybody that has a headphone on. I'm just warning you right now. So,
It is okay.
Ole!
Ole! Ole!
It's not as good as mine. Sorry.
No, but it's kind of like what comes with it, you know? So I don't know. It's like the coup de grace of that. So it is what it is. But yeah, we're just reviewing Taking Over right now, and or we're reviewing NXT right now. But we also just saw Halloween Havoc this past weekend, and I just want to get your quick thoughts about Halloween Havoc, as we didn't see a new champion crowned in terms of the heavyweight champion, but we did see Wesley become the North American champion. We saw Apollo Crews defeat Grayson Waller in a casket match, which was very surprising. We saw Cora Jade defeat Roxana Perez defeat Cora Jade in their match. So what was your takeaway? What was your favorite part of Halloween Havoc?
I think definitely Roxanne and Cora was one of my top ones because I feel like they really brought it and they really used the weapons like I hope they did the first time around. But I was satisfied with this match. So that one I really liked. The main event, I just wanted Braun to lose and he didn't. So I was disappointed in that. I didn't want him as champion anymore. And then with Mandy and Alba, I really thought the way they played it out with having Alba bring toxic attraction to the haunted house, I thought they would kind of give her some kind of advantage, and it didn't, which I hated. So I was hoping we would have a new champion by now, but no, we have Celebration next week, which we'll talk about that a little bit. And then the ladder match, I feel like it was a great choice for an opening match. It had a couple of spots, especially I noticed with Oro Menza, that kind of bothered me. But other than that, I'm very happy for Wes. I feel like it gives him some kind of direction. And as I mentioned, it's his first singles championship ever in his career. So I thought that was pretty interesting and pretty awesome that they chose him to do this. And plus, seeing him hug HBK after he won, it made me tear up too.
Yeah, I mean there's some good things in that one, like a good feel good stories to go, and I think we finally got a little bit of closure with Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade, and I do think it was a good story with Wesley becoming North American. The Swan Song idol with Carmelo Hayes, and pretty evidently we didn't see him on tonight's edition of NXT. So wondering if there's a little bit more to that. Just what maybe was your least part, because I know the Mandy Rose Alba Fire match didn't get a lot of time, and I know that you in the past have been a little bit outspoken about the lack of time for women. Did that upset you at all? As Sean Cena, thank you so much for joining us. Hello to you.
I feel like it wasn't upsetting. It just I feel like the setup itself is what upset me because when you think about it, they played it off as like, oh, I was bringing them to this haunted house, so Gigi and JC are basically taken care of here. and then she goes off to face Mandy, and she'll be good because she's by herself. She has the advantage. She's the one that brought her over. She beat her up before the match happened. So I was thinking maybe that would give her the advantage, and then playing it off, I kept thinking probably it's gonna happen now, and then having the ladies show up, and then helping it Mandy, and then I was hoping that will kind of because the way they've been pushing Alba, they've been pushing her as somebody who really could take down Mandy. And then when that fall happened, I thought she was gonna kick out, and then I heard the three count. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was gonna be end up being a 2 count. But yeah, I guess the setup itself, the way they started the match, it wasn't my favorite part of it.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with that. I was hoping for at least a 15-20 minute match. I'm not going to lie. I'd like to see that championship get a little bit more exposure. I also would have loved to see Alpha Fire win that championship, and I know you would have too. So I'm not upset with it because I understand that there's probably something bigger on the horizon. I just would love to see the artist formerly known as Kaylee Ray, now Alpha Fire, get a little something. I think now we're kind of gearing up for our episode of NXT here. They kind of had their recap of Halloween Havoc. So in a way, we're kind of staying on track. But they open up with the women's tag team title match with Zoe Starks, Nikita Lyons, and the KC's Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Sorry. But we saw them all in the ring. They had that championship kind of introduction. Sorry, Sean Cena says, most believe Carmella will be Hero's partner on SmackDown against Legado. That could be interesting.
I don't know how I feel about it though.
No, and it's very weird that they are gonna do Carmelo like that and not give him an opportunity to be that A champion, even though he crowned himself the A champion, but not actually hold that championship. It's a little bit interesting, but nonetheless, if he is on the main roster, that's awesome. If he's not, and he's going to get an opportunity to go after Braun Breaker in that championship, hell yeah as well. Yeah, we're at the Women's Tag Team Championship, and I thought this was a great match. I really thought this match was awesome, and something that really took me apart was knowing that I saw Zoe Stark get a lot of the wrestling spots in this match where Nikita Lyons had more of the power. Even though she did do a few herself, I thought Zoe Stark really shined in this match. Just getting your thoughts of this match, and I know at some point they had teased a crowning of new champions. That got reversed as they deemed that the ineligible member of the match got pinned, and the referee didn't see the blind tag. I kind of like that. And KC Square did retain their titles, but just give your overall thoughts on that match and how whether you enjoyed it, whether you disliked it. I'm assuming you enjoyed it because it was a hell of a match. But your just thoughts on how everything transpired with the tease and then the retention of the championships.
They really got me with that tease, but I feel like at the same time, I don't want to say it bothered me, so I'm trying to find the right word for that. But I feel like it was too close to what happened to Damage Control recently. So I feel like it was too close between storylines to have kind of something similar happen, especially with the women's tag champions too, to be honest. But other than that, the match itself was pretty well done. I was thinking, why did they open this match? They could have gone towards the main event, but it was a great choice for an opener. They had great pacing. The girls, and especially Casey Square with the double team moves, love them. But yeah, I feel like it was a great showing for all the four ladies, and I like that Zoe and Nikita were matching. So I feel like it gave me a little bit of hope. Like they felt like a team tonight at least. Um, I'm not sold entirely on it, but it sold me a little bit more than usual. Seeing them like kind of unified in that way. But yeah, just seeing the ending itself, they really got me, and I was like, no, I'm sorry. KC Square just got the championships. I don't want them to lose them yet after fighting for so long. But it was pretty interesting though.
Yeah, and I thought they did a really great job of getting you emotionally invested in this match all the way through. Like they had that introduction to begin a show, and I can tell you flat out, if you're not the main event, you want to be that first match. You rather be that first match than the second match, third match, fourth match. It is absolutely amazing, and I thought just the reactions they were getting from the crowd and how the crowd bid on every little thing they did.
Mhm.
A real prop to all 4 women involved in this match. Again, like I'm gonna go back to your point. The matching gear was so nice to see, just from both teams. I know we normally get it out of Casey Squirt,
Mhm.
but just out of Nikita and Zoe, and I just thought this was very cool to see. And now I felt this match finally made me look at Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark as a tag team, and I thought
Yep.
that was a huge thing done in this
Mhm.
match. And I know there was a main event later in the night. I know there's another tag team match of the night. But already these 4 just put on a banger of a match, and I was going like,
Mhm.
okay, this is going to be a hard match to beat for match of the night.
Yep.
Um,
It was.
and finally, a referee making a right decision to reverse a call.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it got me a little bit sympathetic for Zoe for not getting that pin.
Yeah, and
Um,
I felt like it just reminded me, like I said, of the other storyline. And then thankfully, we didn't have to wait a whole week for this to get reversed. I like that it happened just at the moment, too. I feel like usually it doesn't happen. So it was nice to see.
yeah, and I think just with us earlier talking about
No, Ed. No. We're good. Thanks.
and then John Cena coming in. It's great how Katana has transitioned into wrestling from American Ninja's War. Yeah, I think for the first time you're looking at her as a wrestler, and you're not looking at her from that the girl from that reality show. Um, and yeah, when we talk about development, we can talk about so many people on NXT and through the 2.0
Mhm.
regime. But somebody that kind of stood the test of time was Katana Chance, and it's just amazing to see her progression, her evolution, but also her development, and she has become a real mainstay. And that even goes along with Kaden Carter as well, because I think
Yeah.
she is someone that not enough people talk about in terms of a wrestler right now. And I kind of see a lot of Ember Moon, Athena, kind of in her, and it kind of
Mhm.
like yeah, it makes me miss Ember Moon, but it makes me kind of excited to see what she can do. So, um,
Yeah.
also I love the emphasis on the tag titles tonight. Just so
Yeah.
nice, just so nice.
Yeah,
Um,
it just reminds me how I remember seeing Kaden when she was Lacey Lane in the Mae
mhm.
Young Classic, and even thinking about how much she has grown and how being in a tag team now with Katana has really helped her like shine through like this too.
Yeah, and even as Katana, like making that name change from Casey Catanzaro, and even at that one point, there was times where we didn't know if she was going to re-sign with WWE, and they didn't know what the future stood for this tag team. And not only did she come back, they kept the team together, and then they had that amazing road to the tag team titles, won them, and now are being very good fighting champions.
Hmm.
And they're not doing it differently; they're doing it the same way as they fought. And it's just, I think it's a feel good story given how we saw Jade and Perez kind of, the usage of the tag titles after that. There was really a black hole. And I feel now the
Hmm.
women's tag team titles are finally shining bright. And a lot has to do with the team of Chance and Carter.
Hmm.
And then we get to kind of a very similar promo as we saw on Halloween Havoc with the artist formerly known as T-Bar, one Dominic Dijakovic, as we don't really see him, but what we do see is the mask he had as T-Bar, and it's burning. And we see kind of the retribution kind of come in, kind of symbolizing the fact that he is shedding the skin, so to speak, and that was the mask of T-Bar, but also now getting maybe a little bit more retribution for his career back. So we're gonna get Dominic Dijakovic back in NXT, and I think it comes at a really great time as Braun
Hmm.
Breaker is kind of running through the potentials of who can dethrone him as champion. And this guy 100% deserves to be NXT champion. Just your thoughts on T-Bar no longer, Dominic Dijakovic coming back.
I think it'd be nice. I wonder if they would change his name though, because the way they are with WWE and being there's already a Dominic in the roster. Will they change his name from that? I wonder. But I like the symbolism of having the mask in on in the being lit up in the fire, and then just saying, I'm finding that retribution. And I think if I'm not mistaken, Mace tweeted about the mask too not too long ago after the promo happened.
Mhm.
But I think it's nice for him to get kind of reinvented in that way in NXT. And I feel like the way it's going right now, it's such a good roster, so it's might as well get mixed up with these guys now here.
Yeah. Just excited. I think that's the right word. I'm excited to
Hmm.
see him back. He had great matches with Keith Lee. He had great matches before the NXT 2.0 regime. And it just didn't look like he was a natural fit in Retribution as much as, he clearly tried. It just didn't seem like it was him. So I'm very happy to see this. And Melball Collins is happy because we got 3 Purple Hearts.
Yeah.
Um, who, by the way, let's give a shout out to Mel Ball Collins for being part of the very first show on OLE with Paramindful last night, which I thought was absolutely terrific. Just absolutely killing it on that show. And as reported, it is going to be a bi-weekly show, and it can't see any reasons why that show can't be a focal point for our local establishment, let alone maybe a horse for us moving forward. So really cool. Sean Cena coming in. Dominic Dijakovic had a great match with Luke Harper. Yes, he did. And most people do or did. And that just, I don't know, made me a little bit reminiscent of Luke Harper. So, oh, yeah. Artist formerly known as Luke Harper, Brody Lee, God rest your soul. And this kind of takes us to kind of another emotional tie in Wes Lee as he comes down with that North American Championship, as he pleads to the fans to kind of tone it down, as he doesn't want to get emotional in this. But just kind of going back to it, he won the North American Championship. Before we get to what kind of happened, just your thoughts on Wes Lee holding that championship, making his way down. He has done something now by himself.
Hmm. I love that when this match got announced, the only person I didn't want to win was Carmelo because I was hoping for something better and bigger for him after everything he's done. And I kept thinking the only people that will want to win it will be either Wes or Nathan. And then seeing Wes, how emotional he got after that win, it just made me so happy for him. And just seeing him even tonight when he's trying not to get emotional again and telling the fans to like calm down and to let him talk. And the way he talks to the audience, you can tell like he has made a connection with the fans just by himself already and what he has done so far. And I feel like if we got the things we got with Carmelo, I think we could get something similar with Wes if they book him correctly. So I have hope for him for this reign and for him to show up and show up at what he's done and what he can do by himself.
Yeah, and I thought the perfect person came out to interrupt his feel-good speech, and that was Grayson Waller, who knows how to get people to boo him. Just one of the most organic heels of the NXT roster, maybe even WWE or even of pro wrestling, as we know. Um, interrupts this promo pretty much. You see where the cards are being played. He wants that championship, despite the fact that he lost a match with Apollo Crews. He has his eyes that, yes, he can see through, set on that North American Championship. Even said, yeah, I don't care. It's like I had a match last night. You just you just climbed up a ladder and was given a title. I climbed up a ladder just the other day at Home Depot. Nobody gave me anything, which I thought was just a great line. But before we got to anything, R-Truth, because why not, pops out, comes down, kind of in a Joker outfit. Don't ask me why. But he's out, and somehow this ends up being a challenge for Grayson Waller next week, which ended up becoming unofficial. So we have Grayson Waller against R-Truth next week on NXT.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm an unfinished puzzle. Put me together. What did you make out of it?
I also love the part where he just meets Grace and he goes, "You're coming here with a British accent," and the people started chanting about the British accent. But I just like National Treasure art too. That just That man, I can't wait till he goes into the Hall of Fame because he
Mm.
deserves it with everything he's done. I love how random it was because it goes in continuity with how it happened last night on Raw as well. So I like that end of it. And just having him randomly come up, it just reminds me, like I was saying, I love this connection between Raw and SmackDown and NXT that's happening. That people are just randomly showing up now to NXT, and I feel like it just incites people to watch it because you don't know who will show up next. And I didn't have R-Truth on my bingo card, to be honest. So I'm glad to see him there either way. I think he's entertaining, so I know he will give us an entertaining match with Grayson next week too.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to not only see how he interacts with everyone. I know we know what his shtick is, and we'll never get tired of it. We just might not always understand it. Um, However, it's interesting because he is another seasoned vet that could add a lot to
Mhm.
the experience level of a lot of the talent in NXT, and just an amazing use if he's there to kind of help that new group. And when it comes down to, hey, this is maybe what you're asked to do. Here's how to make it good. Here's how to adapt and make a career out of it. Look no further than Ron the Truth Killings, known as R-Truth or K Quick for the historians out there. Um, Not only does he know how to get rowdy, but he can also say what's up. Yeah, so nonetheless, I mean, R-Truth, yeah, he's in NXT for now. I think it's really cool to see. And him and Grayson Waller could be very entertaining next week.
Mhm.
But I'm also very intrigued by Grayson Waller and Wesley for that North American Championship. I love how
Mhm.
it's a new direction already for that championship. We're not seeing Carmelo Hayes come out and say, "Hey, I want a shot,"
Mhm.
or stuff like that. We're seeing something new and something fresh, and that is a big takeaway. And if you want something new and something fresh, look no further than our next segment with Blade and Inoue as they're getting ready for their tag team championship match against Pretty Deadly later tonight. And they're kind of just in the back getting hyped. The one thing I kind of wanted to ask you, because tonight was definitely a promo heavy show or a backstage
Mhm.
promo heavy show. Are they overusing the backstage promo on their weekly
Mhm.
shows?
I think not weekly because I think one thing I like about NXT is that they do promos and things like that, little segments like we got with Toxic Attraction later on. I don't want to say random places, but it's places outside the PC. So
Mhm.
it's just it's understandable for this 1 week that they decide to do it backstage. But I like how they use it. They use different sides of like the city itself and some things that come up and go with the characters too. So I like that they more compared to Raw and SmackDown. I like how they use their outside more than just the performance center.
Yeah. And it almost seems the way NXT uses their PC as part of their show, it almost feels like if I was to walk in there, I feel like I know where everything is. However, I guarantee that if I were ever to walk in there, I'd probably get lost in 30 different ways. So it's really cool. As much as it looks familiar, it's still a
Mhm.
maze. And I'm very intrigued with the fact that they keep making that building different, let alone it always being the same. So
Mhm.
um, this kind of takes me to the next part, which is somebody who also is very different from your average uh, NXT talent or anything like that. We get Quincy Elliott, the Super Diva himself. He is out there to bring out who was his co-host to Halloween Havoc, Shotzi. Which, by the way, if they're giving people last names back, can we get Shotzi Blackheart back?
Right? It's such a ring to it. Why
Yeah,
would you remove it?
but we do have the tank back, and that's okay. I'll take the tank back for now. Give me Blackheart back later. Uh,
Mhm.
she's out for a match with Lash Legend, and I'm sure we can talk longer than what this match went. But this is the Lash Legend match that you actually enjoyed?
I think it was just a regular lash match for me at least. I mean, just the only thing I like the part of like Quincy being there to kind of distract us. I thought that was interesting in a way because they're faces. So I was kind of curious why that happened, but it is exactly what I expected it to be. Just, it's a
I'm,
lash
ass-
match.
I'm assuming Lash Legend is to the NXT universe on the female card than what maybe Grayson Waller is to the male. Like just one of those people that you just can't like. Because if that's the case, she's doing a great job of me not liking her. I'm just going to say that. John Cena coming in also gives Angel and Herberto their last names back also. Yeah.
Yes.
And also give me an LWO on the main roster.
I mean, I think all of them are on SmackDown right now.
Except for the modern Eddie Guerrero, Dominic. He's on Raw.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, John Cena, I completely agree. Last names rule. I like them. And this is coming from someone that is thinking about dropping their first name. Don't know why.
Who's Chris? I don't know him.
Right. But yeah, no, kind of, I don't know. Are you surprised that even still, like, they're just squash match after squash match after squash match for Lash Legend? Like, is there any part to care about Lash Legend?
Yeah. And I was really surprised. I think it was Stephanie, who I know, Stephanie Hardy. She did tweet about, I don't know if it was in commentary, somebody mentioned, I think it was Booker, if I'm not mistaken. That's why. I guess Booker's, in some other words, said that if Lash had trained at Reality of Wrestling, like she would be a superstar. And she kind of tweeted about it. And Reality of Wrestling did reply to her that, if she was over there, she would have been better in a way. And I was like, I think it's interesting that not only Booker mentioned it, but Reality Wrestling just agreed to it. It's not something I expected to see on my Twitter account this evening.
Yeah. I mean, how funny would that be?
Yeah.
I mean, it would help. I'm just saying it would help. But or Booker, you can just help train her there. They have like 7 rings.
Right.
I mean, shucky ducky quack quack Booker, do it. Before we get to our next segment, I just want to kind of get there with Booker T. We are mentioning him. How do you think he fits with the NXT commentary team? Are you getting used to him? Do you like him? Are you getting
I
sick of
honestly
him?
watch it with a low volume, so it doesn't matter anyway. But no, just the only thing that I guess it bothered me the first week or so is I forgot who was in the ring, but they kind of mentioned like, oh yeah, this person's wrestling and whatever. It's like it's kind of like your introduction to them, and it's somebody that had been in the roster for a couple months now. So just you kind of give away that Booker doesn't watch the product, so it doesn't help in the way you point in that way. I forgot who it was though,
I
but I
think I
believe he made
remember
him
who you're
into.
talking about, and I know it was somebody that I know he mentioned. I think it was during the Axum and Nathan Frazier match because he didn't
Oh,
know a lot about Axum at the time, and I think he was playing off that where he doesn't know. He personally didn't know that person very
mm,
much. So this was like his. I think he was talking more from his point of view than just a
yeah.
normal thing, but didn't do the greatest job of explaining it
Like
that
the
way.
way it delivered it, it didn't seem
Yeah.
that way. But I even noticed during Halloween Havoc, it almost felt like Vic was calling whatever was in the ring, and Booker was talking to himself. That's what it seemed like, because it's just like Vic kept mentioning, he's like, this happened and that happened, this happened, and then Booker's like, yeah, so Nathan Frazier did this and this and that. I'm like, yeah, that's not what Vic is saying though. So just kind of like you should go along and help each other, not be talking about different things at different times. It seemed kind of random, but I noticed that during Halloween Havoc at least.
Oh yeah. No, that's kind of what I was gonna say. My kind of thing is like you have two drivers in the same car trying to pick what song to listen to, and nobody understands that the radio is broken. I think that's kind of it. But yeah, no. Speaking, I don't know. That's a good segue. So I'm just gonna say the next segment here is the Creed brothers coming to the ring. Kind of to talk about how Julius did get the win over Damon Kemp at Halloween Havoc. That is now something he can look forward to. His brother wants 5 minutes in the ring with him.
Mhm.
Don't blame him. I don't blame him at all.
Mhm.
I kind of like how they have now, in a way, kind of made it feel like Damon Kemp is in the rear view now. He is not somebody of main focus, even though they'll never like him. Yeah, even
Mhm.
though Bruce said he wants 5 minutes in the ring with him, can't blame him on that one. I think I'm more now ready for that Roderick Strong Damon Kemp match
Yep.
to kind of be the nail in the coffin of Diamond Mind and Damon Kemp. But What we did get was an attack by Veer and Senga.
Mhm.
And I was intrigued right away
Mhm.
because now you're giving me a tag team feud, not for the tag team titles,
Mhm.
on a tag team focused show, and you're creating depth in the tag team division. I'm liking that. And
Mhm.
I'm now curious because now we have Veer and Sangha completely in sync with each other. And their
Or are they
first,
though?
well, I mean, they at least did something together.
Mhm.
But I mean, for now, it seems like they're at least reading the same book. Um, but yeah, no, and I think this is very interesting. Just take me to like your mind of how you're looking at that. Like, is this? I know you wanted Sangha and Veer to
Mhm.
come back together. So how are you enjoying this? And if the natural Astrid was booking this stuff moving forward, what would you do moving forward with Sangha and Veer?
I think it's very surprising when you think about it because after Pretty Deadly, Diamond Mine seems like one of the popular tag teams in the division. So it's kind of nice for them to go, not for the champions, but somebody really up there. So that's the first thing. But I kept thinking, Veer has a very good sense of humor. And Sangha was already having the like gentleman kind of, I don't want to say, but like a very friendly thing for with Leon and Faraz lately. So I was not expecting them to be kind of like heels when this happened. That was the first thing. But we had even Veer was holding up to Julius. No, Sangha, sorry, Sangha was holding on to Julius for a moment, like he was hesitating about going further. But Sangha, I mean, I keep mentioning that, but Veer came behind him and kind of kept hitting Julius. It's like this is what we're here for, like kind of like keep going.
Mhm.
So I noticed that end of it is just like I feel like Veer is there on that mission, but Sanga's probably not sold out of the way, and he's probably just kind of helping his friend or like not trying to go against his friend for the moment. So I thought that was pretty interesting the way that happened. But I mean, I'm hoping that Damon and Brutus have their match, and then after that we get Sang and Veer versus the Creeds, because that'd be super interesting to me.
Yeah, I just wanted to go to this comment. Sean Cena says I have a feeling that Damon didn't attack Roderick. I think it was Bobby Fish. Outside of Damon already admitting it was him,
Mm.
it'd be a weird flex to go in that way. Although I can see how they could steer the needle, and it would be a good
Mhm.
little swerve. And if you
Yeah.
had Roderick and uh, Damon in a match, and then all of a sudden Bobby Fish comes back out, and like I could see something like that. I know Bobby Fish's
Mhm.
name has been tossed around as a potential name to come back to NXT under the Triple H regime. I can definitely see that. I just don't know if that's the way they will go, and if maybe they just might decide to kind of move Damon Camp away. I don't know, but I don't know. I think that's an interesting point.
Yeah. It's
What do
just I
you?
feel like as a heel, he's been taking credit already for the attack. So it makes him look like a coward if he does come back and kind of retreats back and he says, "Oh, I basically Bobby Fish maybe do it or he did it." Either way, but I think if it does happen, it'll be pretty interesting to see. And I'm just hoping they bring back Roddy soon because I feel like at this point I almost forgot that he hasn't returned because
Yeah.
the hospital scene wasn't enough.
Now, if he did something where he was the guy who like came up with the idea and got Bobby Fish, like he hired Bobby Fish to do it, he's still not wrong when saying he's the one that attacked him
Hmm.
or he's the one behind the attack. I mean, I could see it that way. I have to go back and listen to kind of the words that he used,
Hmm.
but if he said it that way, like I was behind the attack, and he never actually said I actually did attack him, or like again, like I have to go back, but I thought he did.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
I he
that'd be
mentioned it
very
during the before Halloween Havoc in the recap. I mean, in the video package, he did mention it, but I have to look back at the words too. I don't remember word for word he
yeah.
said.
So I mean, it'd be very interesting, but
Mhm.
either way, I mean, I'm cool if Bobby Fish is involved in that. I'm also very cool if he's not. It will not wreck it for me. Um,
Oh, I forgot one little detail too about when
yep.
Ivy arrived too.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was about to get there, but yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting the way she looked at them. I was like, is she gonna join them? Because I was like, that would have been interesting if it did happen. Just because you don't, they always seem like, oh, we're a family, so you don't expect that to happen after everything. And the way she just stood, she looks like right there with them. They look so great together for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because Ivy is such a badass. But I like how she had that moment of hesitation. She looked at both of them and just like, get out of here. And they listened to her too, which I thought was pretty interesting before she went to make sure and take care of the Creed brothers. But I think that'll be interesting if she does join them.
Yeah, see, I like that sort of a little bit more because it just adds to the internal drama of Diamond Mind.
Hmm.
But then it'd also be like I'd always have this weird assumption that like, okay, if she was ready to leave the Creed brothers, why didn't she just team up with Damon Kemp?
Maybe she doesn't agree with him, but she wants to,
Yeah.
do her own
So,
thing too, I guess.
man, no, for me, it's like it's always intriguing to see that,
Hmm.
and that's why I love it when you have heels on the roster or even baby faces, and they don't even agree with the same baby face or heel. Like
Hmm.
there's even tension between two heels or two baby faces. It's very interesting, and it's intriguing to me. So yeah, and then I know this kind of goes towards the next segment, but I know two people that have absolutely no issue with each other, as we think that maybe there might be a connection between Veer and Sanga. We know there's definitely a connection between Freddie Dudley, and it is insanely entertaining now. And you mentioned that you didn't want to see them without the titles. I really saw this promo as I can't see anybody beating them anytime soon, and it
Hmm.
has no bearing to me thinking that Pretty Deadly is a dominant tag team.
Hmm.
I just think they're a smart tag team that knows how to get out of the situation or how to
Hmm.
score, so to speak. Um, Clearly, they're there to, they're promoting kind of their upcoming match. Kind of just your thoughts on Pretty Deadly as a whole and as we are heading towards this tag team title match.
I feel like I'm getting entertained by them more and more every week. I still don't understand the tops that they wear. I need some explanation when it comes to that. Just like Ed, I'm still confused about it, to be honest. But aside from the wardrobe choices, that's a different story for a different day. Yeah, I feel like they're really entertaining. I feel like when their match happens, I feel like they really go at it to the point that I forget that it's pretty dilly that I'm watching because it doesn't seem like they're a comedy act in the ring most of the time anyway.
Definitely agree. Now, this next segment is interesting. We have a Zoom call, people. Or I don't know if it's a different call. I'm just saying it's a Zoom call because I don't know what else. But it's every member of Toxic Attraction in different places
Hmm.
talking to each other through their mobile device. And it got very weird in the sense at one point, Gigi questioned Mandy Rose being in Toxic Attraction or doing her own thing in the sense of, oh, look, the champ is busy. That's why we couldn't be together. And then
Hmm.
Mandy Rose says, no, 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 no. Toxic Attraction's in high demand, not Mandy Rose. While we have JC Jane on the other side, not wanting to go out with Mandy at Halloween Havoc. It seems like everyone's on a different playing field right now.
Hmm.
Take us through this because I know how much you enjoyed the segment. This is more you in the sense of it. I'm just staring at the scenery, so you take us away.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning to you while as we were discussing it because I did realize that when the haunted house segment happened in Halloween Havoc, JC kept insisting. She's like, I don't want to go in there. And even though it was just like playing it off like she's scared, I feel like there's more to it when you hear it. When Gigi's like, she's like, and when JC goes, you have half for the women's tag team champions, and then you're the women's champion. Like, you're good. Like, kind of like putting them off to the side compared to her. So I thought when you think about it figuratively, that's interesting. And then the way Gigi goes, oh, the women's champ is in high demand. And Mandy goes, no, because I'm in high demand. You're in high demand. So it's toxic attraction, not just Mandy. And she didn't really respond to it, which I thought was interesting. But like you said, also if we think about it from the bigger picture, they're in different locations. They're not together right now. and she just tells them like be ready for the anniversary of her reign next week. So I thought it was pretty interesting to see how on TV at least they're showing us how the characters are going in different directions already as a team, and even with Mandy as a leader. And don't get me wrong, it's like I love how they look with Sonya on top of it. They looked incredible with Sonya together, but even then, I thought maybe Sonya would be the leader if they decide to bring them to the main roster instead of Mandy. But even now, with this call and Gigi, what Gigi said and what JC has said at Halloween Havoc, it makes me think like, are they all going in different directions? Because that's pretty interesting because they've been so popular. Why would you break them up?
Yeah, I just looked at the fact that they're all in different areas. Like they're all
Hmm.
not with each other there. And it could be different, but I'm also kind of thinking, what happens if maybe Sonya isn't the one to replace Mandy in there, but maybe it's Gigi and JC Jane being the ones to take out Mandy. And because Sonya was there, because if they're Mandy's girls, they're my girls. But if
Hmm.
they decide they don't want to be Mandy's girls anymore, maybe we get Sonya and Mandy reuniting to go up against Gigi Dolan and JC
Hmm.
Jane.
Yeah, because I feel like even with the celebration, I feel like the celebrations in WWE don't really go as you think a celebration would go. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did turn on Mandy somehow and just like you turned everything about you instead of just toxic attraction kind of situation and bend it that way later. So it wouldn't surprise me to see something like this happening with them next week at all.
Interesting to see, but like, would you agree on maybe if this was something that was a slow burn into toxic attraction? And I say slow burn because the person that Mandy just defeated, Alba Fire, I wonder if maybe there was any connecting of the dots of maybe it was her who put a little bit of fire in between toxic attraction.
Yeah. Plus, if you
Because
think about it this way, we know Mandy was absent because of her brother's death. But in storyline, you can just say the girls can say we were there when it was supposed to be your match. It was 2 weeks in a row that they were facing off Alba and fighting off Alba when Mandy wasn't there. So it's like they can easily say when it was probably one of the most important defenses you were supposed to have. We were the ones defending you and taking care of Alba for you. You did nothing. All you did was a little promo before Halloween Havoc. So
yeah,
it's like they can easily say something like that in next week, if anything.
I'm gonna say this: if by chance you want to replace Mandy Rose with Toxic Attraction or in the tag team, I'm gonna refer to Toxic Attraction as JC Jane and Gigi Dolan because at least
Hmm.
they've wrestled as tag team as Toxic Attraction, whereas Mandy Rose doesn't really wrestle under that name. Um, what happens if Elba Fire is the one to replace? And perhaps if Toxic Attraction are to move up in the main roster, as we've seen them previously, what happens if Alba Fire, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane are the trail that goes up instead, and they keep Mandy Rose down on NXT?
Hmm. It'd be like a bit interesting turn. You just like when you think about it, because they can easily use this storyline as that foundation. Like I feel like we like they can say we can got to know each other the last couple of weeks, and she was right. It's been about Mandy.
And what would be very interesting is, as fresh as that would feel, you're now putting them in a new scenery, and they could be off and running right there. I don't know, just an idea. I like to spitball. This wouldn't
Mhm.
be a stream if I'm not going off the rails a little bit. Um, but yeah, and that kind of now takes us to the tag team match, and I'm kind of surprised that even though they started the show with a championship match, they didn't
Mhm.
end with one because this was
Mhm.
right in the middle of the broadcast. They
Mhm.
had Inofi and Blade going up against Pretty Deadly, and this match exceeded my expectations.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna say, holy crap, Arnofe and Blade ripped. They have abs that I want to think I have somewhere underneath the the pillow that I have over top. But yeah, no, they definitely impressed me in this match. Pretty
Mhm.
Deadly impressed me. As someone who grew up idolizing Shawn Michaels through the years, I saw a lot of Shawn Michaels selling rub off on Pretty Deadly during this match, and it's no coincidence that Shawn Michaels is the one running NXT. But take us through your experience with this, because I thought this might have been the only match that could have been up there for
Mhm.
match of the night. I don't think it was, but
Mm.
I thought it was up there.
Yeah, I thought it being like the way they always play off Malik and Inoue, they make it look like they're a joke. So I honestly thought this match is not going to last too long. That was my idea from the beginning. And to see not only the pacing was incredible, but Malik and Inoue, their double team moves were really well done. The way they go off of each other with the hot tag so often, and even Pretty Deadly, I loved the match better than I thought I did. Um, but yeah, I feel like they played off with each other so well. I feel like I've never seen them wrestle like this, and I feel like they should wrestle more often like this on a weekly basis. But it was pretty entertaining. They had me hooked. I wouldn't mind seeing this again though, because I feel like it was one of those like I never expected it, so I would like to get more of a taste of it. But yeah, it was better than I thought it was gonna be. Like I was still shocked when it ended, and all the close calls. Holy moly!
Mm-hmm.
So many near calls. I kept thinking now, and I feel like I'm getting closer to my iPad. It's like now is it happening now? Maybe, and it wasn't every time. But I liked also that I felt that if the crowd was quiet, they won over the crowd with this match. Because at the end of it, they were booing Pretty Deadly when Malik and Inoue lost. So it's pretty interesting to think how one match I feel like turned around the fans for them.
Yeah. Don't want to go have this go unnoticed, but Shop Steven said, I wouldn't be surprised if Roxanne interrupts the celebration and challenges Mandy for the championship. I wouldn't either.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Roxanne, especially with Roxana, with the week that she's had, she's made a lot of waves, and she's been very talked about and highly talked about within all of WWE. It makes a lot of sense, and I wouldn't be shocked if she's the one that ends up as the one to dethrone Mandy Rose as champion. Um, and maybe there is no animosity in Toxic Attraction, but that remains to be seen. But yeah, no, going back to that tag team match, they really, again, just taking you in the waves, up and down, just getting you emotionally invested. I thought Pretty Deadly just raised their stocks up as
Mm-hmm.
a tag team that you want to watch in the ring, outside of the ring. I think they're slowly becoming the complete package in that tag team division. But I thought Malik Blade and Anis Nofe, they really, really shined in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Just prime example, yeah, they did not pick up the win, but you're looking at them in a completely different light now than you did going into the show, and I think that was absolutely amazing. Single fact that there was two main tag team matches here tonight, both for the tag team titles, and they did a very good job of showcasing their tag team divisions on each
Mm-hmm.
side, the men's and the women's. Yeah, just a round of applause on my end.
Yeah, it was amazing. I love that flip that Malik did from the top rope and the post over to Pretty Deadly.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I was messaging Mel and I got distracted for a moment. I was like, "Dang, why did I miss that? Hear the crowd like celebrating so much." And when I had to wait for that replay, so shout out to Mel because I missed it, but I had to wait for the replay. But I enjoyed even watching it, like when they replayed it. And I'm glad they did because holy crap, that was really well done.
Well, and to go back from that earlier one, if we're talking on the spots, that Spanish fly onto Zoe,
Mm.
and I will definitely say, like, I would have appreciated that sell from Zoe Stark before the pin, but and just have that little bit more of a dramatic 1-2 kick out. But yeah, that was insane. And I thought that was going to be it.
Mhm.
Just amazing work. Really, really great performances by all 8 people here tonight. So good job. Those tag team titles after tonight mean a lot more than they did going into the
Mhm.
show, and that was the exact point of it. We're kind of where one of the main things that we all wanted to see. I'm very shocked. There were 3 main things that they advertised: women's tag team titles, men's tag team titles, and who's behind the red hoodie. And one of those closed out the show, and I thought this was a great show. But we get the Schism promo. I thought it was really cool how it was set up. They're all wearing masks. They're all on. Joe Gacy's the only one standing in the ring. The other one's kind of on like that metal balance, like pedestal thing, with the member of the Red Hoodie on top. One takes a turn, reveals the mask, talks. Another, I'm going to let you kind of hammer out the details on this one. And then the other one goes, Joe Gacy goes, and then we see the big reveal. And I'm not going to lie, I saw hair kind of here. And with the way the shadow was, I didn't know if that was long hair or a 5 o'clock shadow. And I was like, oh, damn. And I totally forgot about the skirt being worn right then. And I'm just like, wait, what? Because like at some point, like I was just like, wait, is that maybe a skirt, or could those be like kind of shorts, kind of something very similar?
Yeah, they
to
kind of look
stuff
like
All Elite
basketball
wears?
shorts. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was basketball shorts at first.
So I was like, okay. And then I take a fade out, and then I'm seeing completely shaved legs, and I was like, definitely not basketball shorts there. Yeah. Joe Gacy brings down the red, or holds the hand, walks down hoodie. We get the reveal. Astrid, I'm going to let you kind of go. This was something that I know you were very excited for. So I'm going to make sure you're the one that does it all. As we're getting ball. Damn
Okay,
it.
my
Sorry.
lady.
And then we have the Canadian Dune. By the way, thank you. You've taken over my phone. Hell yeah. But Astrid.
Yeah, and I know we have the Zoe interview after this. I want to mention too, but for this one, yeah, I thought the same thing. I kept thinking like the bodies. I like how they started one by one, everybody taking off their mask and kind of giving us that step by step with everybody, like highlighting every member in their own way. But just like I kept thinking it was basketball shorts, and I kept thinking, I don't know, just like the height. It's almost the guy's height, so I wasn't sure if it was a guy. And then first she took off the hoodie, and then I saw the hair, and I was like, "Oh no, it's Alba Fire." But then I kept thinking, Alba Fire feels taller than what the person looks like, because I saw the red hair and the tone of it kind of reminded me of hers. And I kept trying to think, who could it be? I know they tweeted earlier today a picture with Isla Dawn, so I kept thinking maybe it is Isla Dawn at the end. But I remember, I don't know where I said it. I know I said it somewhere though. I think it was before the NXT UK got dissolved. I remember kind of making a list in my mind of people who is out of TV right now, who could return, or somebody who hasn't debuted yet. And one of the people I had on my list was Ava Rain. Why? Because not too long ago there was an NXT Orlando live event, and she had a promo calling herself the Final Girl, and I don't know why that stuck with me. And I remember mentioning her a few times, but then I never saw any reports or anything of like her debuting. So I kind of took her off my list for a little while. And then seeing this, and for a moment, I looked at her and I said, wait, are they going this route? And then when she said, yeah, my name is Ava Rain, as she introduced herself on Twitter when her name got changed. And I love one of the lines that she said something about her preconceived notion of who I'm supposed to be, which I think it was interesting, being the Rock's daughter. She's not going by Johnson in any way, which is pretty interesting. I like how she's making a name for herself in this more than anything. But yeah, I feel like I'm glad that second time I actually get to guess somebody, and I got it correct this time too. But no, I'm really excited for her. I feel like it's something different. You don't expect the rock star to join a group like Schism. So it's nice to see her. I want to see how she wrestles and how she involves with the group itself on a weekly basis. That's the part I'm interested in. But her promo, at least, I was intrigued, and I can't wait to see more from her too.
Yeah, and I think what I liked about this was that it wasn't necessarily like an established wrestler, not an established talent. It was somebody fresh. And I think that's a great way of allowing that person to kind of just walk their own path and kind of establish their own identity. So I thought it was really smart that the choice being Simone Johnson, now known as Ava Rain, being that person, because you have no idea if this is a good decision or a bad decision, but you're going to watch it all the way through. and you're going to be left with a lot of questions. And I thought that was really interesting. And I'm also going to say this: she looked completely different from the last time I seen her,
Mm-hmm.
and that was really cool. Sean Cena coming in very surprised by Ava's reveal. I thought it was Isla Dawn. I did too. I did too. Um, but yeah. So yeah, just overall thoughts. Now that we finally have a female presence in Schism, we not only now have an understanding of where the Rock's daughter is going to be, and I'm going to stop using the Rock's daughter, Ava Rain. We
Okay.
now have an understanding of the direction of Ava Rain. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Just like you said, it's somebody different that we weren't expecting. We most people probably thought of people from NXT UK that are still contracted who have not been on the show. So I think it's just a nice direction. And I like one thing is people were quiet when she took off her mask, kind of like they didn't know who she was. And then when she said her name, people started chanting her name. And I like that about it because it just like you can tell she won over the crowd with just that promo alone. And just like we don't know who you are, we're quiet right now. But once they knew and they were intrigued, they were cheering for her. And I like that it didn't matter if whether she was a face or a heel, she still got their support by the end of it because of her performance alone.
Yeah, and one thing I was talking with Carl after we had done Turnbuckle Studio earlier was that we weren't sure what the direction was going to be for Joe Gacy. And I said one of my big issues is that he was put in a championship match too quick in a position where it didn't look like he should lose, and he lost. And I was very confused now the direction of Joe Gacy. And this is then when we started truly getting the identities of both members of Dyad. And now we're kind of getting this complete version of Schism with Ava Rain being involved. And now it's a 4-person group. Now I feel like we're finally back on track with Joe Gacy. And I think that's very cool. This very much kind of has a combination of like a Sanity meets Wyatt family feel to me.
Mhm.
And I have a lot of time with this. And I think this is really much helping Joe Gacy as much as it's
Mhm.
helping every other member.
Yeah. That's very true when you think about it, because I kept thinking, especially recently with everything with Cameron Grimes, I feel like they were at a halt with Schism as a whole because I kept thinking, if Cameron doesn't join them and Cameron defeats them, then what happens with the group? I kept thinking from both ends of it, like, and then what happens if Cameron joins the group? It's like, even if Cameron joins the group, Cameron doesn't fit the group. So just how is that going to play out later on? So I was really interested in which route that we're going to go in, and then we had the match with Cameron Grimes and the OC, and then it's like, okay, he's still not joining them. He's still going against them. So what's next? And I like how this. I feel like this renewed my my interest in the group because I feel like because of the Cameron Grimes thing of like him not joining them and like back and forth, that wasn't it for me. I feel like they could have done better with that end of it. So just seeing this, I'm intrigued now again, which is what I wanted with the group. I'm interested in seeing how Ava interacts with the group, and if she does wrestle like teams up with them, I think that'll be interesting to see as well if it'll take some time for that to happen.
Yeah. And I just think, yeah, there's so much to be excited for moving forward. So I can't wait. Can't wait for next week now. Can't wait for the week after just to see the even next step of the developmental or process of this. So very happy. You had mentioned an interview with Zoe. So I want to let you kind of take the reins on this one because I'm not going to lie, I completely missed it. So let us know more about about this segment.
I liked it because she was getting interviewed and she was getting frustrated. And she said, I had the tag titles in my hands and I don't have them anymore. And then Nikita came up and Nikita's like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, it was my fault. And then Zoe's like, no, it's not. Zoe just got mad, but she didn't get particularly mad at Nikita. She was just punching the locker. So that was interesting that she didn't blame her either, but she was just mad overall that they lost it. And he's like, it's okay. We have a rematch. I don't know if it's next week, but she said we have a rematch for it. So he's like, I feel like we can do better than what we did tonight. And just I think like this match was great. I cannot imagine what it'll be like for that rematch.
Yeah, that I'm very excited too because I thought just by hearing you say that kind of went back and re-emphasize what I said earlier about how it finally feels like Nikita and Zoe are finally gelling and becoming a tag team, which I think is
Mhm.
very interesting. With Zoe kind of being that veteran experience, understanding that like I'm mad at the situation, not the person, because we
Mhm.
always know in a tag team match, the losing team, somebody gets pinned, somebody doesn't. That's
Mhm.
just the reality of the situation. But to not get upset over the pin itself, I thought was very amazing. Um, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see maybe this team turn and
Mhm.
kind of take that new route, even if they were to lose next week, but then beat up or attack the
Yeah.
champions after like
Mhm.
a we'll go for the handshake, give you the thing, but then boom, take a page out of my books from
Mhm.
just last month. I think it'd be really cool to ignite this and kind of extend because as we say, like this match tonight was awesome. And if they were to duplicate this as well as adding on, sign me up. I mean, in the words of
Mhm.
Carl, just take my money. Just do it. This is good stuff. And I know this kind of by hearing that, I also remember not getting to an Apollo Crews promo earlier,
Yeah.
which I thought was really interesting. And I'll just quickly kind of get back to that. And he was talking about more about how Grayson Waller is now in his rear view. That's kind of where I
Mhm.
remember, like when I said that phrase earlier, I'm like, oh yeah, Apollo said this in his promo that I completely forgot to mention. Um, but he definitely has Braun Breaker on his
Mhm.
sites next. And I think that is really cool because I would love to see Apollo Crews and Braun Breaker at some point. I think that it was a destined match as soon as I saw Apollo Crews in NXT. Um, so, yeah, I mean, very curious about that. I don't know. Do you want to see Apollo Crews as NXT champion? I know you want anybody but Braun, but would
And before,
Apollo
mhm.
Crews be that person?
Yeah, and before I get to that too, I think it was interesting. I forgot what exact word he used, but he also said kind of like Grayson Waller kind of changed my route in a way of like the way I was hoping to go. So it
Mhm.
was not the direction I wanted to, but I had to focus on Grayson at the moment and kind of get rid of him before I can move on to this with Braun. So I think that'll be
Mhm.
interesting. I feel like Apollo will be a good choice. He's more of that person that could be that locker room leader. And like I said, just I'm tired of Braun. I feel like Apollo will be something different if we think about it that way. And just Apollo mixing it up with like people like Carmelo, for example, who we didn't get to see in any way tonight. I think it'll be interesting to see going on in the future, perhaps.
Oh yeah, he said he wants to get his original vision back, which I
That's what
thought
it was.
was awesome
Mm-hmm.
because as we know that he had his vision skewed by Grayson Waller,
Yeah.
but he's also talking about his path to the championship was his original
Mm-hmm.
vision when he got to NXT.
Yeah.
So I love that double meaning and I love
Mm-hmm.
that wordplay. So yeah, that's what it was. Had to go and check it out. Like gonna fact check ourselves because why not? Uh, but yeah, no, and that I thought that's kind of cool. I'd be very interested to see if not only do we see Apollo, and we'll get to it later because we did see a match that had some ramifications for that championship later tonight too, in a way. But we also saw Austin Theory last week. We have no idea if that's going to be a thing or whatnot. I'm still kind of confused by it because we didn't see him at Halloween Havoc.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see him tonight.
No,
Did like so I'm just confused. Like is Austin Theory gonna be
it's okay. Just
somebody?
let it die. It's okay.
I mean, I'd much rather him cash in on the NXT title than
Mm-hmm.
anything on the main roster. So uh hey, you said anybody but Braun. I'm just
I
pointing
guess
it
I'll be
out.
specific. Nobody but Braun or Theory. Does that help? Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no. So and anyway, this takes us to a very interesting part of the show. We had a conference call, so to speak, a voice answer, which was very cryptic, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Gave me a lot of Bray Wyatt vibes,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it's Bray Wyatt. It ends
Mm-hmm.
up being somebody named Scripps. with a Y. Do you want to kind of take us back to this?
I thought it was interesting because we just ended up with the review of Schism, and that was the mystery that we had, and just we go from one to another right away. That's interesting. I feel like we usually don't have mysteries like this, like I guess in a row, if you want to say it like that. I did take a screenshot of the conversation because I thought the words were interesting. They said, "Let go of all your pain, washing away your deepest fears." That kind of did give me brave vibes. And then there was another part.
Listen with your eyes, speaking with
Yeah,
your ears. Awaken from the pits
some
you
pits.
call the
Yeah,
dark. Opening up my soliloquy is
yeah.
just the start. Watch as I come and leave my mark as I plan to rip all of the NXT apart.
I like how you said all of NXT. There was nothing specific aiming it to anybody. So it could be anybody aiming for anybody at this point. So I thought this was interesting to see. And like you said, the scripts, and that was the only like clue that we got towards it. Which, when it started, I thought it was probably a commercial, so I wasn't paying attention at first. And so I heard the voice was like, "Oh, you're calling the performance center." I said, "Wait, what happened? What are you talking about? Who calls the performance center?" I didn't know there was a number for it, but now we know, I guess.
Yeah, can only imagine how many people are going to call there now. But just kind of your thoughts, your takeaways on this, and kind of early on predictions. Who do you think it could be?
Ooh. I feel like it's kind of hard to predict it right now, but I wouldn't be able to post it. Like, there's so many people from the NXT UK we still haven't seen, and even like I think if I'm not mistaken, from Roxanne's class, there's still some people that haven't debuted, so maybe there could be a couple options there. Um, but yes, I don't know. I had to do my research and get back to you on that.
Yeah, I do want to just emphasize. It says "leave my mark." There's definitely emphasis on it being a singular person,
Hmm.
man, woman. We don't know yet. But yeah, it seems to be more singular, not a group. But that doesn't mean anything. I'm gonna say that it could still be either Dominic Dijakovic or maybe it's another returning superstar that may have been elite earlier this year. But I'm
Okay.
very curious. I'm very much
Mm-hmm.
intrigued with this one because this was different, and I like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Right.
And as you said, this followed at the schism segment, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, okay, this is getting
From one
weird.
mystery to another.
Yeah. And then we kind of get to a match with Sol Ruka versus Indy Hartwell, and this match, again, just like Shotzi against Lash, did not go very long. Indy Hartwell picks up the win. Quick takeaway.
Well, let's just put it out there. This first started like a soul interview, like
Mhm.
talking about her match against Indy. And I like how I don't think I wrote it down. Oh, here. Indy tells her, doing tricks to wow the audience can only take you so far in NXT. And I went, oof, that goes back to her entrance and the clip that got viral on Twitter, which I thought was interesting. And then like I like how Indy's like I'll show you how it's done. And being that Soul has this is her second match, I was not expecting her to lose this quickly already. I kept thinking she's one of the new people, and Indy has been here for a while, so it's okay for her to lose it in that sort of way and give her that momentum as a new superstar. And the match is super quick, and I thought it was interesting that did you notice Indy's gear?
Yes, the ghost face.
I love the ghost face, but it just reminds me back of like that Dexter connection too. So yeah, and I think she had a new theme song if I'm not mistaken. It did sound different when I heard it, but I'll
Yeah.
have to double check that. But yeah, I thought it was interesting that she just like I'll show you how it was done. And I feel like usually when people tell you I'll show you how it's done, they lose the match, and she didn't. And then just to see Indy win it, I feel like Indy has been like that back and forth of like winning and losing. So I was definitely expecting her to lose, not to win. So very interesting. It was like, is she turning perhaps? Especially with that gear, just give me that vibe.
Well, I thought the same thing, but in the sense of Sol Ruka, I have a feeling we
Mhm.
might see Sol Ruka go in that heel route. Um, so I wouldn't be shocked if maybe that this was just a introduction to that. Not everyone's going to agree with you, and she's just going to be a little different, maybe. So I don't know. Curious to see. I'm just shocked that they decided to go with a match and go that route, but it is what it is. And this is the perfect segue to Chase University.
Wait, no. Did you not see what happened afterwards?
I didn't, actually. I was also recording a show. What happened
No,
after?
we had Electra return, and she was beating up both of them too.
Oh, okay. I saw something.
Yeah, it took me a little bit when I saw the hair. I kept thinking, "Who the heck is this?" And then when they showed her, I think it was pretty interesting to like have her without legato and then having that focus on her. I really liked that. So it's like, that's why I didn't feel so bad that the match was kind of short because I saw Electro
Okay,
return.
that makes sense because I didn't see that, but what I did see was Indy kind of down, and I'm like, I just assumed it was Silver, but I wasn't sure. So I was like,
Well, I just solved your puzzle.
I'm just like, I'm gonna make a mark and hope Astrid covers for me. And you know what I didn't do? I didn't make a mark, but you still covered for me. So thank you.
There you go. Now we gotta chase you.
That's the perfect way to go to Chase Universe now, where we see Duke Hudson. Are you, despite what we think of Duke Hudson, I did like later on when they're writing the test and he does the most obvious stealing of a pen to use for his test, and then you get the classic, where did it go? With
Doesn't even bother to look at the side.
Oh my god. But yeah, Duke Hudson apparently enrolling in Chase U.
I wonder though, did he attack Bodhi before this happened? That's why he's just like, oh, here, I'll take over Bodhi. But it just makes me wonder. I know Bodhi's like a joke, right? Not a joke, but like something kind of fun, I guess you would say. But it makes me wonder, are they turning Bodhi away from all of this, and that's why this is happening? Because if they are, I think I'm kind of interested a little bit right now.
What if they tag Bodhi and Duke Hudson?
No. I'll pretend you didn't say that. Let's keep going.
I don't know. I'm curious. So like it's just one of those things where it's interesting because we said like, is he making fun of Bodhi being a joke? But then I'm like, but we're talking about Duke Hudson.
Yep.
He doesn't exactly has a resume that's worth talking about. So I don't know. It'd be funny if he was the first person that like failed like a test. Because we haven't seen anybody just like crap the bed at Chase U yet. Like due to bad grades, like we have to kick you out. Like it'd be really funny. But I don't know. I'll let it linger. I'll let it kind of take me to the next week and see what happens. As I know what's happening right now. We got video, bro. We got Bobby Munson, my brunch buster. Hello, my friends. Sorry for the fashionably late comment. It is okay because if it was too early, it wouldn't be on the stream. So there's that. Better late than never. And we appreciate the late because it never sucks. But we have our conclusion of the show coming up as we have Ilya Dragunov going up against JD McDonough in a match that was slightly teased about because we know that Ilya Dragunov was the one who took the pin in the triple threat match at Halloween Havoc. JD McDonough did not, even though he was the number one contender, where Dragunov kind of slid his way into the match. Had an opportunity to kind of revenge the fact he didn't walk away with the championship. Ilya has a chance to revenge the loss that he took from Braun Breaker. And I thought these guys actually had a hell of a match. I thought this was really cool. I thought it was really short. I would have preferred these guys to go a half hour and just let them go. Kind of like how we saw Axiom and Nathan Frazier. And that made me now want to see Nathan Frazier against Ilya Dragunov. Just give it to me. Just give it to me. Yeah. But we had a referee stoppage when JD McDonough choked out Ilya Dragunov. And I thought that was very interesting, given how Ilya Dragunov was pinned in the triple threat.
Mhm.
Now he's taking another loss. Astrid, your takeaways on this match?
Yeah, it felt like even for a main event, it felt too short. That's what from the beginning, I thought maybe the women's tag titles or even just any tag team championship match, and it would have been the main event and not this necessarily, because I feel like it didn't have the same stakes as the other matches. But yeah, I think interesting to see a referee stoppage. We don't really see that very often, so I was not expecting that to happen. But just like you were telling me off screen, just it's that moment for JD to tell Braun, "Let's go 1-on-1," before maybe have Braun move on to Apollo, perhaps. But it just like if Braun just move on to Apollo, that will mean for a loss for JD. And it's like, how much longer am I gonna have Braun as champion? Why? Why is this happening? He wasn't even there tonight in any way, shape, or form after a pay-per-view.
You said it was his birthday.
I don't care anymore. You're champion. Could at least had a promo.
Oh, I love it.
Disappointment.
Exactly what I said. You're now repeating, so it's perfect. I don't understand this birthday. Why do millennials need their birthday off? Just work it like men, you lazy
Hey,
people.
take it easy.
You're not a millennial, are you?
Yeah, I am.
Technically, I am too, but I mean, we're not going to let facts get in the way of a good story. But this was kind of the conclusion of our NXT show tonight.
No. How'd you forget about the Roxanne promo?
Because I didn't see it.
You missed out on the show, dude.
I missed two things
Mm-hmm. Sure
because
thing.
I was making content.
Mm-hmm. No, it was just a promo, like her recapping what happened at Halloween and Havoc, and just the way she kind of had to turn to defeat Cora, and they just gave us a video package about it. Um, and I don't know, I'm guessing you probably didn't see it. And there was like I don't know if that part with Malik and Inoue getting out of the arena after their loss.
Oh, so no,
Yeah.
I just missed that. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we did have a segment earlier with No Fame coming out, and they're kind of swallowing in their loss.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea who it was in the car.
Yeah, I couldn't. If I seen him before, I don't remember his name, but I don't remember seeing him before. He didn't say his name either, and I realized they didn't put a name flavor for him. And Malik and Inoue, I don't think they mentioned his name either, which I thought was
No,
kind of weird.
but he's basically had a truck with girls going to a party saying, "Hey, this would be a lot better if you came than if you stayed." So my suggestion is get in the car. And I'm just kind of like, you just lost. Might as well get in. I mean, he's guaranteeing you a good time.
Hmm.
You're already on cloud. I hate myself. So you might as well get in the car. And you might as well start appreciating. So I don't know. I'm curious. I have no idea who this guy is. But maybe it's kind of like the manager. Maybe it'll be like the manager part. I don't know, but I'm very curious. A lot of tonight's show was very much curiosity, and
I was gonna say that's.
the reason why I didn't talk about that Roxana is what did it really do? To me, it was just like, all right, that promo, given what part they put on the recap at the beginning, they did the same thing.
Yeah, I feel like it just kind of gave you that like closing of like her and Cora should be done after this. But I just like last week, I think it was last week, I was like, this is something that could have been just online, like a digital exclusive, and that was it. I wouldn't. Why would you put it as part of the show if you didn't have Roxanne or Cora there? But, oh well.
I would have done this. I would have taken that same time, and I would have just said, we have back our Byron Saxton with the sit down of Cora Jade to talk about what's next for her.
Yeah.
Done. And guess what? That would have been a lot more eventful than repackaging basically the same information
Mm-hmm.
that you did at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
But it'd be very interesting to see what she does next. Very interesting. And now, with that being said, we're done NXT tonight. So, I don't have anything left to drink. I drank everything tonight. There we go. There's drips for people. But yeah, so kind of staying by you, what is your natural star rating of tonight's episode?
Now recapping it made me realize how much I loved a lot of it tonight. I don't think really anything that I didn't like. So I don't know if I'm between a 4.5 and a 5 for tonight.
All right. Very high rating show. I'm just gonna say I think my match of the night was clearly the opening match. I thought the women killed it tonight. I thought Casey Square and Nikita and Zoe absolutely just put on, I don't want to say a clinic, but they definitely made it hard for everyone, as they should have. So congrats to those four. You are my match of the night. And now, before we get to the end, this is the point where we plug ourselves. Astrid, what do you have coming up and where can people find you?
You can find me on my Twitter, Astrid Pizarro, and my Instagram, Astrid Pizarro 20. But somebody took the Astrid Pizarro from me, unfortunately. For this week, I have left Making an Impact with Cody on Thursday at 10:30 p.m. after Impact Wrestling, and obviously after Bobby and Papa Smokes after MLW show on Thursday. So you got the double feature. But aside from that, I did tweet this week. I have the video and the audio version of on all podcast platforms I linked for Ladies Wrestling Showcase. We had our premiere on Friday, which is very successful. I was very happy about it. So thank you, Mel, for doing that with me. It was pretty awesome. Oh, jeez. Yeah. I think that's it for the moment. I just have an episode of Astrid as I'm recording this weekend. So hopefully it'll be out by next weekend. So we'll see. Hopefully.
Yeah, and well, I'm just getting there. For the second time tonight, you can follow me on the Twitter, Chris Perish, the Instagram, and Chris Perish on the Instagram, on the Twitch at the Chris Perish, where, yeah, thank you. We're on a different Twitch tonight, so it's not there. I will be twitching more because I got to keep that affiliate status, so I got to get busy.
You're going to be twitching more? I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, I'll be twitching so much that people are really going to think I'm confused now. But yeah, no, you can also follow me this Sunday on the same Twitch at twitch.tv/our local establishment with my brunch buster buddy in that comment, Bobby Munson, as we will host Busting Out. Yeah, so we got that going on. We got amazing good stuff coming up on our local establishment. And just to prove what all we do have coming up, I could say it, but why don't you just watch it?
It's like a shadow next to me, like a voice inside my head. It's like a fight that I cannot win. Frustrated, intoxicated, I know I'm losing myself. I can't take it anymore. But I'm not done. I'm not done. I won't give up until the end. But I won't fall. I'll stand awake. So no, it's not over. Even if I'm closer to the
Yeah, and in addition to that, we also have Andre C. That Canadian dude is also going to be on the same Twitch on Friday doing a watch along. And I believe it's New Japan Pro Wrestling he's doing a watch along for. Yeah, so make sure you're checking that out. If you love New Japan, you're going to love this because I think New Japan is one of those promotions that just need a little bit more coverage. And I know that we also have this. We have Rumble on 44th Street Sidecast Friday, October 28th, 6 p.m. Mountain. Twitch of being Andre and Melball. I think that might slowly be coming over here instead, but we'll see. I know you can definitely see them a lot on Breaker Media and the Backbreaker videos. So making sure you're going checking over Mike the Ref, as he is putting on a lot of great stuff over there, and you can see a lot more of not only you, Astrid, and Mel Ball, but you can also see a little bit of Andre C as well. And this is kind of the time where we play the outro song. But you know what? Instead of doing that, I'm going to decide to raid someone. And who I'm going to raid? I'm going to raid Fightful Gaming. So for everyone who has been a part of here, thank you so much. Have a great day, and we will see you next week for taking over. And thank you. And we make sure we couldn't do this without you. And for everyone who is staying with us, you will now get the intro video. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night.